Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with this week's My 2 Cent Switch slash gaming videos. And we got a couple to talk about this week, including what a lot of Nintendo fans, and particularly Switch owners, were waiting for, is the Nintendo Direct. After it's been rumored. We finally got one, and boy, this one was pretty good though. But I will get to that one in just a minute though. But we do have a couple of stories to cover, or the ones that caught my attention, and give you my thoughts and my opinion about it. So why don't we get started off with the first one? And this one has to do with the launch of a game that kind of came out a little bit out of nowhere at the very least, and has certainly garnished a lot of good attention. And that I'm referring to is Apex Legends. Now, this is the new game that came out from Respawn Entertainment, which they are known for the Titanfall games though. So it was kind of a bit of a surprise to see this one garnish a lot of attention after EA released their fiscal earnings, which obviously Battlefield 5 did not meet their expectations despite selling 7.3 million copies, I believe. But then again, there were so many problems and so many situations that led to that problem with it. And it seems as though Apex Legends, despite being published by EA, seems to be off to a very good start. From an article from Engage, they are reporting that, quote, that Apex Legends racked up 25 million players in its first week, according to the title. The article reads, and quote, and again, links will be in the description. For a game that was announced and launched just a week ago, Apex Legends is doing well for itself. Respawn has revealed that it stabbed at the Battle Royale genre, now has over 25 million total players, and as well over 2 million simultaneous players during the weekend. That's still a far cry from Fortnite's epic shooter that has over 200 million players and 8.3 million concurrent, but it's a huge figure for a title that boasts 10 million players in just a few days earlier. Naturally, the studio is using this as an opportunity to hype up its roadmap, including a limited edition Valentine's Day goodies and the official start of its first season and paid Battle Pass in March. May have something to look forward to once the initial rush is over, especially if hinted of solo and dual mode prove accurate. The company just didn't outline what it thought Apex was doing so well, but it has numbers of advantages in its favor. It's built on the Titanfall series' generally well-received combat mechanics, complete with input from expert players. Its marketing no doubt helps at the combination of a surprise launch and support from top streamers. Made sure that everyone could see how well the game plays, and of course, it's a true free-to-play game where you only need to spend money if you want characters and items quickly. Respawn challenges now are to keep the momentum going and fend off the inevitable Inevitable apologize, I can't say the name correctly, response by its competitors. So apparently the game is certainly off to a good start, and it certainly has garnished a lot of positive buzz. Even though I'm not really a big fan of the whole battle royale type of approach, certainly it's nice to see that the game is certainly doing very well. I think the part that kind of concerns me a little bit with this is EA, and while there has been supposedly interviews saying that EA took sort of a hands-off approach of it though, given EA's history, my concern is that EA could sort of put their greedy little slimy hands on this and put in a bunch of unnecessary microtransactions in this that could ultimately ruin what supposedly is a game that's earning a lot of positive buzz, especially for those who are into the whole battle royale genre. And it will be really interesting to see how long this momentum can go, and whether or not it would become a true competitor to, say, a game like Fortnite or if it dies down and fades out into existence. As we've seen other developers take a shot, whether at the hero shooter genre or the battle royale genre, and not all of them have had success. I think one example was Boss Key Studios by former employee who worked at Epic. I believe that's Cliff Benzinski, who helped create the Gears of War series. He tried his luck with Lawbreaker, that didn't last long, and then tried his luck with I think Radical Heights, I believe that's the name, to try to take a shot at the whole battle royale genre, and that didn't work, and that Boss Key Studios, from what I understand, closed. So again, just because a genre is popular doesn't automatically guarantee success or anything like that. But it seems Respawn was able to get that success. So far, it seems to be in the good success. It's just EA. That's the part that worries me about it. Because for all the goodwill this game is earning, I fear that there is a possibility EA could just ruin it and destroy any goodwill this game has sort of earned right now. So, but right now, time will tell whether or not this game can maintain its audience for this new battle royale game, and whether or not it will overtake Fortnite or get close, or will never overtake Fortnite. So time will tell for this game though, and time will ultimately tell whether or not EA will go in there and ruin the game entirely, as we've seen them done in the past with other franchises though. Everyone saw what happened with Command & Conquer Rival and what EA did with that one. So that's the part that worries me, at least. But for now, overall, even though I'm not a Battle Royale fan, it's nice to see that a developer is having luck with their new launch of their new game though, and kudos to Respawn Entertainment for so far the successful launch of Apex Legends. And we'll have to wait and see how far this game goes, and whether or not it can build up with an audience and so forth. So, but overall, good on Respawn with the success of Apex Legends. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 2, and this one has to do with Activision announcing layoffs, unfortunately, despite their financial report. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Activision and their recent decision to lay off employees after their announcement of their financial report. Now, last year was mixed for Activision at best. While Call of Duty Black Ops 4, which opted to go for the Battle Royale mode and ditch single player mode altogether, while the game certainly did sell well, it didn't meet, supposedly from memory, it didn't meet Activision's quote expectations. Obviously they were hoping to sell more. And then of course last year there was a whole debacle of the mess with Destiny 2, where Destiny 2 did not perform as well as Activision hoped for, which prompted basically both Activision and Bungie to split, with Bungie taking the Destiny franchise with them, although supposedly Crash Bandicoot, Insane Trilogy, and Spyro Reignited Trilogy seem to have sold very well. It wasn't enough for Activision, and apparently, although Activision made money, apparently that wasn't enough, and well, it had to basically lay off some employees. According to a report from Vanity Fair, it reads that, quote, Activision Blizzard lays off nearly 800 employees amidst major reconstruction. This is from an update they wrote. Quote, it reads that Activision Blizzard is laying off approximately 775 people, 8% of its 9,600 personal staff, as it refocuses its effort on its Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Overwatch, Warcraft, Hearthstone, and Diablo franchise. Activision calls the move a deprioritizing its initiatives that didn't meet expectation, CEO Bobby Kotick, I think he was the person who played like the owner of the baseball team in the Brad Pitt movie Moneyball, said that the cuts would come from support staff while the company consolidates its commercial operation and reorganizes its marketing initiatives. Activision will be instead investing more in live services, Battle.net, esports, and advertising effort. The company added it will be increasing development resource by 20% in 2019 on those franchises it's now focusing on. The company will fund this greater investment by deprioritizing initiatives that are not meeting expectations and reducing certain non-developed and administrative related costs across the business, the publisher said in its earnings release. While our financial results in 2018 were the best in our history, we didn't realize our full potential, the CEO of Activision Blizzard said in an earnings report statement. To help us reach our full potential, we have made a number of important leadership changes. These changes should enable us to achieve that many opportunities our industry affords us, excuse me, especially with our powerful owned franchise, our strong commercial capability, our direct digital connection to hundreds of millions of players, and our extraordinary talented employees. Net revenue for the quarter was $2.38 billion, beating out $2.24 billion. Net income for the year was $1.8 billion compared to $273 million in 2017. Activision exceeded last year's net revenue of $7.5 billion against $7.2 billion in 2017. Activision Blizzard stock took a hit on Monday after rumors surfaced of the layoff. Share values have been climbing throughout the day and continue to climb slowly in the after-hour trading. It's not uncommon for investors to react favorably to layoffs, which signals a company taking steps to increase values for shareholders. A sword has been dangling over Activision Blizzard's employees since Friday when Bloomberg reported that the company would be laying off hundreds of employees in advance of the publisher's full year earning report for 2018. Those layoffs are now a reality. Activision Blizzard has been signaling a massive restructuring and realignment in recent months. It began exclusively in May 2017 when Bungie and Activision announced that Destiny 2 would be launched exclusively on the Battle.net for PC players. It was the first time Activision has overly dipped its foot in Blizzard's pool. The two companies have functioned largely independent under the former Blizzard president. In March 2018, corporate partner Activision Blizzard seemed to extend more control, installing a former Activision Blizzard Senior Vice President of Investor Relationship as Blizzard's CFO. A second Activision publishing title, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, was announced as a Battle.net exclusive on PC, signaling the line between the two branches was starting to become pre-mergeable. And so basically a lot of employees are unfortunately being basically let go, unfortunately. About 800, although I've been hearing they'll receive a severance package. And well, the response has not been very positive, and for obvious reasons. In fact, that same article also points out that a workers' union basically is calling for the CEO of Blizzard to be fired. And this article cites, quote, grassroots labor organization Gamers Workers Unite is calling on Activision Blizzard to fire its CEO following massive layoffs at the video game publisher earlier this week. Upheaving 800 workers' lives while raking in millions in bonuses for you and your C-suite buddies isn't leadership, it's theft, Gamers Workers Unite said on Twitter Wednesday. We, the workers of Activision and our friends, have had enough. Join us in saying it's time to, quote, fire Bobby Kotick, though. And honestly, I can see why a lot of people don't. I mean, and also the Gamers Workers point out basically something interesting, though. And then it said in one of his on one of their Twitter saying, Shigeru Iwata, as CEO of Nintendo, cut his own pay during times of trouble to ensure no employees will lose their job. And Activision saw record profits this year. That's they have no excuse. And you know what? I agree with that. I think it is completely unacceptable that a lot of these CEOs are receiving these like bonuses and all that stuff, and this company's earning money, and yet they're laying off all these employees. Where Nintendo's late Shigeru Iwata, though, as although I don't agree with every decision he made at Nintendo, I do have a bit more respect for him on the fact that he was willing to take a pay cut, willing to take a pay cut and take responsibility over the fact that the 3DS was not performing as well as it was. Eventually, it would perform better, and the Wii U was not the success Nintendo was hoping for. I mean, he's able to do what Activision CEO is not doing, and that's unbelievable. And it's really, really sad to see a lot of these employees are being let go and all that stuff. It's really unfortunate. I hope they do find jobs and so forth. And you know what? I do think this is a case where I would be open to the idea of seeing some of these game developers start pushing to unionize and so forth, because this can't continue on like this. I mean, what Activision is doing is just unbelievable, and it's just really, really sad. This is what is going on right here, and it's really sad what's happening to these employees and so forth. And so this really can't go on. Something needs to change, though, and I don't disagree. I think new leadership in Activision is needed. One that could balance between from a gamer's perspective and from a business perspective. I understand for a lot of these businesses is to make money. Make no mistake, I don't disagree with that, but I believe you could do it without screwing your employees or screwing your fans over, and this is how I am seeing that. So my overall take, very disappointed with the CEOs are handling this, though. I wish the best of luck to the 800 employees that are being let go, and I hope they're able to find a job soon, though. And I certainly am not against the idea of game developers unionizing in any way. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with a couple announcements of Dungeons and Dragons games could be coming to consoles, especially the Nintendo Switch. Supposedly old Dungeons and Dragons games, to be exact. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My True Sen video. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at a couple games supposedly in the Dungeons and Dragons series that were released on the PC, making their way onto consoles, including the Nintendo Switch. Now, I'm going to be honest with you though, I'm not really a PC gamer or anything like that. Not that I'm against PC games or anybody that games on PC. I'm a believer that game on whatever system you feel comfortable with, though. Some people like consoles, some people like PCs, and if that's the kind of system you enjoy, fine. That is certainly fine, though. I mean, I've tried several games on the computer before, but these are like a long time ago. I remember trying out a game called, I believe it was called Spectre's Challenge on an old Macintosh I used to have, a Macintosh Performer 450. God, I feel old just even remembering that, though. To going over to a friend's house and trying out the old original Wolfenstein 3D on their Macintosh as well. So I've tried some games on the computer before, but again, consoles has always been an interest to me. But there are those who like those PC games. Well, it appears as though some of these PC games are going to be making their way over not only to the PS4 and the Xbox One, but also to the Nintendo Switch. In several different articles, this one from Game Rant is reported about Boulder Gates, Neverwinter Nights, and other classic RPGs coming to modern consoles. It says, quote, this story came out last week. I wanted to talk about it though, but several stuff came up, so I ran out of time, unfortunately, so I'm getting a chance to talk about it right now. It says, quote, years before it was known for Dragon Age, Mass Effect, and Anthem, BioWare built its reputation on classic isometric RPGs like Boulder Gates and Neverwinter Nights. Now those classics and some others from the now defunct Black Island Studios will now have a new lease on life on modern consoles. Skybound Games, the company that revived Telltale's The Walking Dead, is releasing enhanced versions of Baldur's Gate, Boulder Gate 2, Shadow of AMN, Icewind Dales, Neverwinter Nights, and Planetscape Torment, along with Beamdog's Siege of Dragonspear expansion for Boulder Gates that was originally released in 2016. All the games will be available later this year for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, PS4, and Xbox One. Beamdog basically said in a statement, or one of their tweets, is that these games are iconic, including Boulder Gates, which really set the standards for Dungeons & Dragons computer role-playing games. That's Skybound Games CEO. We're excited to bring Beamdog's incredible state of new platformers for both the dedicated fans and those who will soon discover these adventures for the first time. As longtime fans of the Boulder Gates and Dungeons & Dragons, it's fantastic to partner with Beamdog as the newest member of the Skybound family. We are ecstatic to partner with Skybound Games to bring these great classics to the new platform. Beamdog CEO said, Skybound's accomplishments are amazing and they have a demonstrated love and respect for creators. We're thrilled to find ourselves working with such talented studios. So, it's certainly nice that they are bringing these games over as well. I never got a chance to try some of these, so it would be really interesting to see how these games are going to play, especially on a console, particularly the Nintendo Switch, because some of these, I believe these were originally games designed with the mouse and keyboard in mind, so it would be really interesting to see how they work with the controller. And I'm very curious to see how well these games run on the Nintendo Switch as well. And who knows, I mean, if these games do very well, maybe this can open the gate to, say, maybe a Baldur's Gate 3. I know there's maybe some Boulder Gate fans who would like to see that as well. I would personally like to see games like Boulder Gate's Dark Alliance, Dark Alliance 2, come to consoles as well. I mean, or a remake of those two games come to the current generation of consoles as well. I never got a chance to try those games out, but I've heard some good things about them. Supposedly they're good action RPGs, and I do remember playing one of Black Island Studios' game, and I think that was Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. This was when Interplay at the time had the Fallout license before it went over to Bethesda and so forth. So it's certainly nice to see these games getting a second chance. Hopefully they find a new audience as well, and it'll be really curious to see how they play, since they were supposedly, I believe, designed originally with a mouse and a keyboard in mind. So it'll be interesting to see how they play with the controller. But great that they're bringing these games back, and hopefully, just maybe, if they do well enough, this will convince them to think, hey, let's do a Boulder Gate 3, or hey, let's consider bringing back Boulder Gate's Dark Alliance 1 and 2, and if those do well, let's do a Boulder Gate's Dark Alliance 3 while we're at it too. Or, as one person pointed out in the article, why not a championship of NORRATH? So, we'll have to wait and see, but overall, interesting that they're bringing these classic PC or computer RPGs over to today's generation of console, and I certainly will be looking forward to trying some of these out when they do get released, supposedly later this year. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 4, and this one has to do with THQ Nordic releasing their financial report and basically being happy with the way Darksiders 3 is doing. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 4 of our My True Set video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at THQ Nordic, and they just released some of their financial earnings. Now, THQ Nordic has certainly been getting on the news lately. Some of it has caught some people's attention, such as releasing certain games, particularly old ones like, say, Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy getting re-released, to basically some controversy with the whole Metro Exodus, to the fact that they are recently buying up a lot of studios and buying up even some IPs, ranging from the Time Splitter IP to the recent announcement that they bought, I think, the studios that did the game Kingdom Come Deliverance. I haven't played that game though, but either way, they've been buying up some studios and been trying to build up an impressive library, and apparently they've released several games, and of course one of them last year's was Darksiders 3, which I put on my top 9 PS4 games of 2018. And apparently that game, along with THQ Nordic, however, seemed to be did it very well and had a very good 2018. According to Game Industry Buzz, hold on. Okay, let me get that right there. Okay, according to Game Industry Buzz, it reads that THQ Nordic's net sales rose 713% to 447.6 million in 2018. It also points out that the publisher has 77 games in development, including 48 unannounced projects. It'd be interesting to see how many of those games make it over to the Nintendo Switch. That would be really interesting to see. Okay, it says growing publisher THQ Nordic has released its interim financial results, apologize if I'm not saying that incorrectly, for 2018, showing dramatic increase across the board. For the 12 months ending December 31st, the company reported a net sale of 447.6 million, up an impressive 713% year on year from 55.1 million. Its EBITDA rose by 257% to 105.7 million, while operational EBIT rose 139% to 52.5 million. As with all THQ Nordic's result this past year, the significant year-on-year increase can largely attribute to its acquisition of Deep Silver last February, now reaping the revenue from that publisher's title. The year's taking were boosted by a particularly strong fourth quarter, with total net sales from games coming in at 59.9 million, more than each of the previous 3 quarters, which peaked with net sales of 52.5 million in the second quarter. In the fourth quarter, THQ Nordic's titles account for 64% of the total net sales at 38.2 million, while games from Deep Silver and Coffee Stain generated 20.3 million and 1.5 million respectively. Total net sales for the whole company in fourth quarter came in at 149.6 million, up 441% from 27.7 million last year. EBITDA rose more than double to 35.4 million, while operational EBIT rose 84% to 21.1 million. The statement from the CEO described the last 3 months of 2018 as a stable quarter with continued growth, and attribute much of the success to the release of Darksiders 3. He said the game not only performed within expectation, it has already recouped all the costs of development and marketing. This year, several DLC add-ons will be released to give the game a further boost, with Darksiders firmly established as one of the group's key IP. They also know that Deep Silver had no significant release during the fourth quarter, but this is largely because they're giving up for the release of Metro Exodus, which he describes as the group's biggest release thus far. The CEO added, "We're looking forward to our most exciting year ever. By the end of the quarter, we have a record 77 games under development. 4 of these are still in the pipeline waiting to be announced, including a few that are scheduled for release in 2019. So apparently it seems as though Darksiders 3 did perform very well for for THQ Nordic, despite the game supposedly sales-wise it didn't perform well, at least according to several articles, and the response some people had to the game, which was it took sort of a Dark Souls approach, and not everyone was a big fan of that though. I played the game. I still enjoy it though. I don't think it's as strong as, say, Darksiders 2, which still remains my favorite entry in the Darksiders series, mostly because I'm more of a Zelda fan to be exact. But nevertheless, Darksiders was fun. It did have a bit of that Castlevania and Dark Souls vibe to the game, and I certainly was not against that in any way. So great that that game is doing very well though. Not to mention, we're getting the War Master Edition for the Nintendo Switch, so it'll be very interesting to see how well that game does. Maybe that will convince them to bring not only Darksiders 2, but perhaps Darksiders 3 could make its way over to the Nintendo Switch. I mean, after all, that game does run on Unreal Engine 4, and the Switch does run on Unreal Engine 4 as well. So there is some hope that the game could come. Again, it's not a guarantee, but we'll have to wait and see. But it is good that THQ Nordic overall is doing very well. It'll be interesting after all these studios they acquire and all these franchises that we start seeing the light of day with some of them. Personally, I would love to see the Time Splitter series make a comeback since they've acquired the rights for that. I would love to see that series make a comeback though, so hopefully that happens. So overall, great that THQ Nordic is doing very well, at least according to what the company is saying. Great that Darksiders 3 did well. Maybe not highly, maybe not hot, maybe not selling like gangbusters, but glad that it's doing very well. I'm glad that it's now becoming one of their big IPs. Hopefully that means a Darksiders 4 is going to happen at some point in the near future. That would be great, but here's to hoping to see what kind of games THQ Nordic is going to present to us in 2019. And here's to hoping that some of those games do make it over to the Nintendo Switch. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 5. And this one has to do finally with the Nintendo Direct. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our 5th and final part of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct. After for a lot of Nintendo fans, we've been waiting for the first Direct of 2019, and there were rumors throughout January of whether we were going to get it or not. And then January passed, and then rumors started to pop out for a February one until Nintendo officially announced the February Nintendo Direct, and there were rumors of what were going to show up. They were ranging from a Star Fox Grand Prix to a Metroid Prime Trilogy to the Kingdom Hearts probably coming to the Nintendo Switch. And while none of those turned out to be true, don't get me wrong, I would have loved to see the Metroid Prime Trilogy come. Would have loved to see them announce that for the Nintendo Switch during the Direct, and the Kingdom Hearts game from the Nintendo Direct. While I would have loved to see that happen, that's not to say that this Direct was in any way disappointing. In fact, I came away very pleased with this. I mean, these were really, really good announcements, though. And there were some games that caught my attention that I might try, though, but there were some that I definitely like. So the ones that I liked, the ones that really caught my attention that I liked the most was, first off, was Super Mario Maker 2. The fact that they were bringing this over to the Nintendo Switch was kind of interesting, and I'm curious to see how this one is going to work, considering that the Wii U and the 3DS version required the touchscreen, or in this case the gamepad for the Wii U. So I'm curious to see how this one is going to work on the Switch. But overall, seeing that you can add slopes, and actually now the designs from, looks like a 2D version of Super Mario 3D World and so forth. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this one's going to work the most. The big one for me, of course, is Astral Chain. the brand new game from Platinum. Let me be honest with you, I'm a big fan of Platinum. I love their games, though. I enjoyed the Bayonetta series and so forth. And while this may not be the announcement for some Platinum fans, like a remake of The Wonderful 101, or for me, a remake of, say, Vanquish, Mad World, or Infinite Space, though, I'm willing to settle for a new IP. Plus, Chimera, the guy who helped also produce the Bayonetta series, though, is working on this one, including I think some of the folks who worked on 2017's Nier Automata, though, which is definitely a good thing. I did enjoy that game, though. Story I thought was a little bit confusing, but you know what? I didn't hate it either, so I'm glad the people who worked on that are working on this brand new IP. While I'll admit that it would have been nice to see Nier Automata come to the Nintendo Switch, I'm very happy that they are working on the developers are working on brand new IP designed for the Nintendo Switch. So this is definitely on my radar. And the fact they also talked about Bayonetta 3, that's still in development, which is great, even though it would have been nice to see some gameplay footage of Bayonetta 3. Of course, we got some information about Fire Emblem Three Houses, a little bit more on the story side, not a whole lot on the gameplay. They did show some gameplay of it though, but I'm curious to see how the gameplay is going to follow. Is it going to follow very closely to, say, what Fire Emblem Awakenings or Fire Emblem, I think the Fire Emblem games that were on the 3DS, I think both the Light and Dark one, I forgot the name, I think they were called Fire Emblem Ifs, or Revelation or Restorations, those kind of games. Is going to follow like the Fire Emblem Echoes game, so I'm a little curious to see how in terms of gameplay this one's going to play out, but I'm looking forward to the new Fire Emblem Three House. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, that game looks impressive. A bit of a disclaimer though, I did back Bloodstained Ritual of the Night when they announced the Kickstarter back in 2015. We also looks like they made some improvements with that game, and on top of that, supposedly we have a release date of summer of 2019, which hopefully this date holds and they can finally get the game out though. Last year they released Curse of the Moon, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon though, and that game was fun. So hopefully this time the game can finally launch, and hopefully it does very well and scratches that Metroidvania itch that unfortunately Konami's not doing because they're too busy doing something else, and the Castlevania series hasn't made, outside of the Netflix series, they hasn't made a comeback on games lately, or at least the ones that impressed me. Hellblade was kind of a bit of a surprise to see that game come to the Nintendo Switch when supposedly I think it was originally a PS4 exclusive, and I'm very curious to see how this plays on the Nintendo Switch though. I mean, we've seen games that were like graphically demanding, like say Doom and Wolfenstein, make their way over to the Switch with surprisingly good results. Granted, they're not anywhere near the level of what the PS4, Xbox One, or PC version would be, but the fact that they were able to port them over is pretty amazing. So I'm very curious to see Hellblade though. Daemon X Machina is definitely a game I am looking forward to trying out myself. I just downloaded the demo. I have yet to try it out, but when I get the chance, I definitely will. Same with Yoshi's Crafted World. Tried out a little bit of the demo though. That game's fun too, but Daemon X Machina is definitely one I want to try out. I never really tried out the Armored Core series. In fact, last time I ever tried, the last mech game I played was I think Frontal Mission Evolve, and I think that was it though. So this one I'm definitely trying out. Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3 is definitely one I'm keeping an eye out for. I'm curious to see how that one plays, especially with, I think, Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja's involvement in this. I think Omega Force. I'm not 100% sure about that, but nevertheless, definitely looking forward to trying that one. And of course, the new Dragon Quest game, which supposedly we're getting this exclusive feature with an orchestrated band with it. But the part that also interests me is the switch between the 3D visuals that they have, since the game runs on Unreal Engine 4, to switch down to the 16-bit type graphics. So that is very interesting. So I'm looking forward to trying that one out. So those are some of the games I do like. The ones that I might try out though, I have to say, are the ones like, say, the Boxboy and BoxGirl. I never tried those games out before, so I'm very curious to see how those play. They look kind of interesting, some simple puzzle games, so this one would definitely be worth a try. Tetris 99, supposedly this free-to-play Tetris type of a game, though. I am a fan of the Tetris series, so this is one I might try out. I mean, the last Tetris game I played was, I think, the Puyo Puyo Tetris, though, and that one was kind of fun, though. So this one I might take a look at. The update for Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, it's very nice, very interesting that they are supporting Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker with this update. It's, I think, some new levels and a 2-player co-op, so definitely worth trying that out. Seeing some of the new Star Fox mission in Starlinks is kind of neat. It's obviously clear that it looks to me more like the Switch version of Starlink probably fared a bit better than, say, the PS4 or Xbox One. I remember reading how when the game launched in the UK, it came in at number 14 on the list, but compared when it came to a breakdown of all the versions, I think it was 86% of it sold on the Switch. So obviously, it looks like Ubisoft is focusing on the Switch version a little bit more with these new Star Fox missions, though, for Starlink. So great that they're adding it in. Still wish we have a brand new Star Fox game, though. That would be nice. The new RPG from Square Enix that they're bringing over, I think called Oninaki, Oninaki, from the developers of I Am Subsuma. That looks really interesting, especially being an action RPG, since I like those kinds of games. So that's definitely on my list of games I might try. Rune Factory 4, that's interesting, though, because I remember playing a little bit of that on the Nintendo 3DS a couple years ago, and it was kind of fun. So it's very interesting to see that they are going to be ported over to the Nintendo Switch with some new features. And of course, they're working on Rune Factory 5. That certainly is nice. So we'll be getting a whole new one for the Nintendo Switch. So I'll be definitely looking for that. Grid Autosport is definitely one I might keep an eye out for, since we don't really have a solid traditional racing game outside of maybe Gear Club's Unlimited. That's really the closest thing we have right now, so I'm very curious about that. And Unravel 2 as well. Very, very interesting to see EA release another game on the Nintendo Switch that is not a not another FIFA, though. We'll see how this one plays, and we'll see if it does well on the Nintendo Switch, or has EA's reputation kind of hurt it. And then, as far as games that I'm concerned about, the only one I could think of right now, based on what I've seen so far, would be Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, though. Now, just to be sure, I don't really hate Assassin's Creed 3. I enjoy it, though. I still think Black Flags was the better game, but I still definitely had fun with Assassin's Creed 3. And seeing it come to Nintendo Switch is certainly nice. But I do have some questions, though. Or some concerns I at least have for it. And some of that has to do with the footage that they currently showed during the Switch presentation. Showed like there was still some issue with the frame rate or something like that. Hopefully they can iron that out by the time the game comes out, though. But that's one concern. The other concern is all the DLCs, though. I mean, obviously we're getting the Tyrant of King Washington in it, but will we get any of the other DLCs, which is basically, I think there was one that was an exclusive when the game was launched also on the PlayStation 3, and I think that one had to do with the mission involving Benedict Arnold, so I'm wondering if we're going to get that as well. And then, of course, there's Assassin's Creed Liberation, which is also coming as well as part of Assassin's Creed 3 too. So I'm looking forward for that one too, but I'm curious to see, is that game going to be put into the cartridge, or are we looking at the possibility that will be a digital download only? So I'm a little bit kind of concerned about that one. But we'll wait and see about that one. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully it a solid port, and maybe we'll see other Assassin's Creed games come over, like Black Flag, Rogue, or maybe a brand new one built for the Switch in mind as well. So we'll have to wait and see, but I do have some concerns about that one. Oh, and the other, like I forgot to mention, was of course Link's Awakening. Obviously, though, that one I'm definitely looking forward to trying that out. I know some people are upset about the art style, but I'm not hugely bothered by this, though. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, with this and Rune Factory 4, maybe we could see other Zelda games probably get a remake. Maybe they'll remake A Link to a Past. Maybe they'll remake A Link Between Worlds and bring those over to the Nintendo Switch. Maybe there are other 3DS games that might be remade over to the Nintendo Switch, since we're getting, Rune Factory 4 special. Me personally, I would like to see Project X Zone 1 and 2 do that. But as far as Link Awakenings go, I'm very curious to see how well this one does. Maybe they'll, like I said, they'll see other remakes, and my guess they're going to do that to buy people time as they probably work on the brand new Zelda game the brand new Zelda game. So and I expect that one's going to be a while, to be exact. But my overall take with this Direct was, I am very pleased with them. This one was a really, really good Direct. Normally, I set my expectations for these Directs at mile, and I came away very, very pleased with one. This is probably one of the good Directs I've seen in a while. So we'll have to wait and see what the next Direct will be. And that one, we may have to wait a little while, but overall, thumbs up on this Nintendo Direct. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Apex Legends? Have you tried the game out yet? Are you enjoying it though? Are you not enjoying it? Do you think you like the positivity the game has gotten so far? Are you worried that EA might put their greedy hands on it and ruin whatever good reputation the game has gotten so far? What about the layoffs that Activision has done already? Do you think these were expected? Do you think this was the right thing for Activision to do? Or do you think this is CEOs trying to, put more money into their pockets and so forth? And do you think this may be a point where it's time to see developers start unionizing and anything like that? What are your thoughts about a lot of these Dungeon and Dragon games, like certain Boulder Gates and Neverwinter Nights, coming to consoles, though? Do you think this is great news? Do you think these games will make the transition to consoles well? Do you think this could open the door to games like Boulder Gates 3 and Boulder Gates Dark Alliance if these if these games do very well? What are your thoughts about THQ Nordic's finance? Do you think this is good that we'll see more what these unannounced games are? Do you think Darksiders 3 success certainly means that we're going to see Darksiders 4 come over? Do you think this could also mean that, do you think this also means that we could see Darksiders 3 come to the Nintendo Switch by any chance? And what are your thoughts about this Nintendo Direct? Did you like this Nintendo Direct? Did you not like this Nintendo Direct? Did they make some surprising announcements that caught your attention? Were there games you liked that they showed off? Were there games you did not like what they showed off? Did you like what I said in this video? Did you not like what I said in this video? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, and if you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I do. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!